Good afternoon. How are we doing, people out there? It's been a funny old day here. I'm so British, starting with discussing the weather. I seem to do that a lot, and I don't know why. It just must be a habit. It has gone all over the place today. It has been a pretty cold weekend. I mean, clearly not cold by Canadian or Scandinavian standards, but pretty cold. Temperature definitely dropped. And earlier, randomly, I was on a work call, and suddenly, I swear to God, hail just came from nowhere outside. It then turned into torrential rain for about 5 minutes, and now it's kind of bluish skies and sunny. So UK weather, UK weather. It just does whatever the hell it likes. I swear to God. But there we go. What can you do? What can you do? Um, I'm just checking. My captions seem to be working, which is good. I had a quick glance at OBS this morning. I can't even remember why, but I opened it for a second and it said it needed to update. So I am now on version 30.0.0. So hopefully that doesn't break anything. I did have to reinstall my closed captioning plugin because I upgraded. And I need to figure out if there's a better way to do this. But because I'm on a Mac, sometimes if you download third-party stuff, Macs don't like it. They go, "Oh, this is not secure. You can't use it," and so it won't let me use third-party plugins. So you have to kind of open the OBS application and manually insert the file in there, which is fine. It's not too tedious. Except I've discovered now that when you update it, all that goes. So I need to find a better way of doing it. I have seen something that suggests that, and this is weird, but if I download it through Safari rather than Chrome, maybe it tags it in some way to say that we're cool with this. But yeah, we've got to find a way around that because it is frustrating, or it will certainly be frustrating, anytime OBS updates that I might have to reinstall plugins. And I only have one plugin at this time. I do want to start tinkering around with stuff and including other kind of bells and whistles to make my life a little easier. But we'll see. We'll see. What have I been up to? Well, today's been quite a boring day job day to getting on with stuff. And procrastinating is probably not quite the right word. Strategically prioritizing. The thing I need to do today is I need to write a PowerPoint. I need a PowerPoint for a meeting I'm in tomorrow, and it is like 5-6 slides. It is not exactly War and Peace I've got to write here. And yet for some reason my brain is like, nope, 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 do anything else. Anything else at all. So I have been productively getting on with work. Other things off my to-do list have been done. But it's just ridiculous. It's like literally anything else. Anything else. Don't do the incredibly quick and easy PowerPoint that you could just like rattle off in probably like 10-15 minutes. Do the crazy document review. Review 3 things and give some feedback on this, that, and the other. I don't know. Brains do funny things. Oh well. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? What else is going on with me? So if you tuned in on Friday, I was talking a little bit about it. Last week was a very hectic week for a number of reasons, but mostly because we had a bit of a family emergency, which is still kind of ongoing. So we'll see on that. So there's kind of a lingering anxiety in our house right now, which is not fun because the states of anxiety are generally quite high in our household. So we have a maniac toddler, and his job is very stressful right now. And mine is not unstressful, to be honest. But yeah, this is it just adds an extra thing into the mix of not being able to relax quite as well as you should. Good afternoon. I'm going to try and pronounce your name. Leviogene? Leviogene? Fun to say. How are you doing? How is your Monday afternoon, or whatever day or time that it is for yourself? How's tricks? Um, so yeah, yeah. So it was a slightly odd weekend, and I think it's going to be a slightly odd week. I got my friends that helped me out. Yeah, it's just been a slightly odd weekend, and I just get the feeling it's going to be a slightly odd week as we go through it. It doesn't help the fact that I have to go into the office again this week for 3 days. So routine just kind of goes out the window a little bit. And the second that happens, everything just goes slightly off the rails. Um, but we'll be fine. Yeah, things will work out, and you know, we'll get on with it. Get on with it. Tomorrow's just going to be busy as well. I need to. Um, Normally, my wife does the nursery run on the way to dropping off our little one in work, uh, and she can't tomorrow because nursery can't take her at the normal time tomorrow, um, for reasons. So normally I would be getting a cab to the station to go into the office. So I'm going to have to go via the nursery, drop off a car seat to leave at nursery, and then go on from there to the station and get on to work and get into London for a meeting. So tomorrow's just going to be kind of hectic, I think. I think even if everything's going to plan, I will have that nagging feeling of I'm late for something, or I need to be doing something, or whatever. Such is the way. Such is the way. Oh well. Nah. Sorry, very thirsty this morning. This afternoon, rather. What time is it? Who am I? What's going on? Oh, jeez. I'm together and organised and functional as a human being. I swear to God. Oh dear. So what was I doing over the weekend? So let's talk about Sunday first of all. So we live not too far away from Canvey Island, which is, I don't know if technically it is indeed an island. I mean, there's sort of like 2 ways on, 2 ways off. But it's not exactly floating in the middle of the water. Um, but the reason we go there sometimes is they have a fun fair there, which is quite nice. It's like a kind of Poundland, Coney Island kind of feel. Not that I've ever been to Coney Island. So we tend to go, and our little one loves it. You know, it's something like £5. She gets a wristband. It gets to go on the rides. I mean, they're not crazy rides, but they're good fun for someone her age. We got there. Unfortunately, Fun Fair was closed. Should have checked this. I'm guessing seasonally. I guess they only want to pay the staff that work there, who tend to be kids. During hours or months where they know they're going to get a lot of people there. So that was a bit of a write-off, which is a shame. And we thought it was going to turn into a full-on toddler tantrum. Fortunately, it did not. So we decided to grab some chips at the seafront and do kind of the arcades, which is fun. I like kind of amusement arcades. They're good fun. I wouldn't say I grew up in Blackpool because we moved when I was nearly 6. So, I remember bits and bobs about it. But somewhere in me, there is something that loves kind of seaside kind of arcades and stuff like that because of, spending some early years around Blackpool. So that's always kind of fun. 2p machines and the like. There's a kind of, I don't know if I just missed this. But in my mind, amusement arcades, you get, it was certainly UK ones, you get pound coins and you might change your pound coins into 2p's if you're going to do the 2p machines or the 10p machines. But generally, the things are in and of themselves. Like you either do it to get points or you might win a prize on a particular thing. If it's like a grabby claw thing, you might be able to get a prize from that machine. But the thing that seems I've noticed recently, certainly the arcades we were at yesterday was Sunday, right? Yes, yesterday. And when I've been to ones at like Lakeside Shopping Centre, is we now have this kind of ticket system thing, which I don't remember as a kid. And I think maybe that was a very American thing, or maybe I just missed it. But you do so well, or maybe not very well at all, on a machine, and it prints out, a number of a strip of little tickets, which if you get a crazy amount of them, you can then, trade in for a prize. That's always struck me as a very American thing. It's the sort of thing I'd expect to see on You know, you see it in it's gone blank here. You know, Cobra Kai and stuff like that, and Stranger Things, and all those kind of shows. You would see, oh, if they go to the fairground and stuff, they get all these tickets and they trade them in to get. I mean, you see them in Deadpool as well. You know, you have fists fulls of tickets, and trade them in. And you need a ridiculous amount to get anything. Yeah, we had a look, and our little one loves Paw Patrol, and they said we saw their Paw Patrol, you know, cuddly toys like yay high, not gigantic. I thought, how many tickets have we got? How close are we? And the answer is not at all close. It was like 1,200 tickets to get one soft toy that must cost like 15 quid, something like that. You know, and we had like 65 after spending a fiver's worth of pound coins. So yeah, that didn't really happen, strangely enough. But no, I like amusement arcades. They're good fun. What I used to as a kid, it was when I was very, very small, it was like the 2p machine type things. And then when I was kind of in my teens, it would be the cinema we went to an awful lot. There was a cinema that wasn't too far from where we went to school. And that had a big kind of video game arcade, you know, with Time Crisis and House of the Dead and stuff like that. So, and there was a Jurassic Park ride. I remember there was a really tough Jurassic Park ride. I want to say it was themed after the Lost World, even though that was probably quite a while after the Lost World. Maybe Jurassic Park 3 hadn't come out yet or something. I don't know. But I do remember like a Lost World thing. And I always enjoyed them. And air hockey. Air hockey is great fun. Yeah, people talk about things like, you know, table football, foosball tables and stuff like that. And if I were to have such a kind of man cave where I had that sort of machine, it would be air hockey. Because air hockey is good fun. Anywho, so yes, so we went to Canvey Island. It was a bit of a write-off in terms of what we planned to do, but a good day was had by all. We had some fun, didn't spend a huge amount of money, had some chips, had a warm drink, walked to the seafront a bit. Canvey Island seafront is weird. They've got it is a funny old setup if you Google it. So the sea level is quite high compared to the building level. Like, and this is where like sea level, building level. So there's these sea walls around the outside. So if the sea level rises, you know, if it's a low tide, it's high tide, you know, and windy, you know, the resting sea level is above the level of the buildings. So there's this mural along the beachfront. And I want to say it was something like 1956, something like that. There was a huge storm and water came crashing over the sides and flooded and people died and stuff like that. But there's a series of murals. It's like a walk of remembrance thing around the seafront. So the local kids, I think kids, anyway, maybe some older people as well, have painted these across the across the sea walls, you know, describing quite grisly things like this number of people died, and you know, here's a nice homely looking picture of stuff, and then you see, oh no, that's a baby like in a bassinet, you know, floating out to sea, you know, and then one of them weirdly, I mean, this isn't you know, grim and grisly, but just strange. There was one huge thing. Maybe it was sponsored by this pub. And there was a picture in the middle of it was like the Red Cow Inn or something like that. Certainly, that was the gist of it. And then with the sea as the background. And on the far right-hand side, there was a sort of godly sort of figure looking out, you know. And it's, God is looking out for this pub. And on the far left-hand side, there is the giant red cow. And it's like, do the people of Canvey Island worship some sort of red cow as their deity? Is that why everything's slightly weird here? Oh well. Strange old time. We nearly lived there, actually. When we moved down from Scotland, we did look at a house on Canvey, and kind of price for price, we would have got more for the money we paid for this house. But we had a feeling that if we moved to Canvey, we'd never leave. You know, I think you kind of move to the island and stay on the island. And clearly our little one ended up going to school there and, you know, get very established there. And it felt like we were closing things in very, very quickly. And also we thought the commute would be bad. You know, I work from home most of the time. And if I have to go into London or travel elsewhere, fortunately my company pays the travel expenses, so I can just get a cab to the nearest station and go from there. but my wife has to drive to work, and because there's only like 2 ways on and off it can be, we thought, yeah, that commute is going to be horrendous, no matter what it says. Like the crows fly, it may be whatever, but at rush hour, it's just going to be horrendous. And I think we made the right call. Anywho, what else is going on? So on Saturday, we actually kind of did an impromptu kind of family gathering, kind of related to everything that's going on right now. But my father-in-law's not terribly well, and has been for a while, so we try to cook him dinner every so often. And because other members of our family are in a bit of crisis because of everything that's going on, and I know I'm being vague here, but I'm kind of deliberately not talking about specifics. We thought it would be really nice to have everyone over, so we cooked a big roast dinner, which was really nice. And roast dinners are easy now, I mean, clearly, there'll be something better and probably cheaper, but doing some of the stuff from scratch. But the fact is, you can just get a maintenance, a bag of roast potatoes and a bag of Yorkshire puddings and some, microwavable veg. It's pretty easy to do a nice roast dinner. But on that note, so we do Hello Fresh. We have been doing it for almost a year, I think, because we realised we were just eating crap. Especially with 2 busy jobs, we would just inevitably find we were just eating absolute rubbish in the evenings. And even when we weren't eating something that was horrendous, it would be quite expensive for what it was, and we thought, well, how much does it cost for HelloFresh? That's not too bad, and at least it means we'll be eating better. And it generally means we do. But recently there was an add-on which was I'm going to get the pronunciation of this wrong. A kind of potato dauphinoise type thing that was delicious, absolutely delicious. And it seems to become a hit with our family because we did the one out of the bag and did it, and it was very, very nice. And the next time we were having my father-in-law around, my wife said, "Yeah, it would be nice to have that dauphinoise thing. It can't be hard to make." So no, it's not. And so I bought the bits and pieces for it and made it, and now it is a thing, and we've set a precedent now. So every time we have a roast dinner, I'm going to have to make this dauphinoise, which is not too bad. It really isn't too bad to do. It's, slice some potatoes, boil them for about 12 minutes, cut some shallots, I think onion, creme fraiche, a bit of cheddar cheese, maybe some hard Italian cheese if you have it, and then add, I think about 75 ml of potato water from the boiled potatoes in, mix it in, and then whack it in for 18 minutes. It's not too bad to do at all. And very nice. But it's now a thing I'm going to have to do. I like cooking Christmas dinner. One, because Christmas dinners are great. But I'm quite methodical about it. That's the kind of guy I am. I know people have spreadsheets for it. I just kind of figure out, I scribble down, like, this is going to take this long at this temperature, this is going to take this long at this temperature, then I work it backwards and set a number of timers to tell me when to do certain things. But mostly that's putting stuff in and out of the oven. There's not a lot I have to make for Christmas dinner. But now I have this potato thing I'm presumably going to have to make for every Christmas now. And that's on top of my stepdad has a recipe. I want to say it's a Nigella Lawson recipe for caramelized onions, which are freaking delicious. So that's something I've tended to make the last couple of Christmases as well. So now I have 2 things I have to make from scratch. The rest is, pre-done. Just whack it in the oven for the correct amount of time and try and avoid food poisoning. But I've got 2 things I have to make, which is fine. Which brings me on to the topic, which I think I was going to discuss last week, because I realised I've not discussed it on stream, which is vegetarianism. So I am a vegetarian. I have been for, I want to say, about 4 years. I could be completely wrong in that assessment because the pandemic kind of threw any notion I have about the passing of time completely out of the window. And I don't know if other people have the same with this. It's one of those, you go, oh, it was last year. And then you go, oh, no, wait, no, it was like 4 years ago, because the pandemic just kind of wrecked things for a while and made time a non-existent quantity. So yeah, I it's very easy for me to actually find out how long I've been a vegetarian because of the trigger for my vegetarianism, which is so stupid. It really is stupid. There's no getting around it. So my wife is basically always been a vegetarian. I can't remember when she did become a vegetarian. She said, I think she was about 14, 15, something like that. So, so she's been a vegetarian as long as we've been together. And she's generally not had a problem. Well, she clearly did have a problem with me eating meat, but she didn't cause it. She didn't kick up. She never kicked off about it. She didn't force me to become a vegetarian. We just had to. If I was doing the same meat, do 2 separate pans and stuff like that. But the amount of stuff I was eating that was vegetarian anyway was, it wasn't too bad change. Because like if we were making a curry or something like that using corn or whatever instead of mince, it's fine. The flavour comes from the flavour, not from what you use to make it with. But the ridiculous thing is why I actually became a vegetarian. So I considered it for a little while because, as I kind of said, I was probably eating vegetarian 80% of the time anyway. So it wasn't that much of a difference. And I'd considered it, because, it's one of these things that, I think everyone can kind of totally understand the fact that, animal cruelty and the like. I don't want to get too dark and deep on this one, but, unless you're kind of a monster, you've got to admit the fact that, raising and killing animals is not, good per se. Ridiculous trigger for me was where I actually decided I was going to do this was The Last Bloody Jedi. So the middle of the sequel trilogy Star Wars films, there is a scene in that with the adorable little porgs, which are like small kind of mammalian penguin type creatures. And there's a scene in it which is played for laughs, which is there's a load of these on the island and you see them looking all cute. And then later there's a scene in it where Chewbacca is roasting one of these things on a fire. And they, I can't remember the actual framing, but they cut the camera around and you can see like 3 of these little critters looking at their poor dead friend on the campfire. And they play it for laughs. And I saw this and I went, oh, holy shit, I'm a monster, aren't I? And that was the trigger for me to actually go vegetarian. Which is ridiculous. Of all the reasons that someone can go vegetarian, a fictional creature being killed and cooked and watched by his friends in ostensibly a kid's film, is a ridiculous trigger for it. But I decided, no, so I'm going to try it. And I went in with the mindset of, I will try it. I didn't set myself a time, but I said, I will try it. If this just doesn't work for me, I will change my mind. But I did go cold turkey, for lack of a better phrase, on this one, because I knew if I did, I'll do it a certain number of days a week or whatever, you then start to bend those rules. I'm kind of an all or nothing kind of person. It's like if I'm doing a diet, I have to stick on this. Like the second I start making exceptions, it starts going really badly and eventually I just fall off the wagon. So I did it, and I have done ever since. I mean, when was The Last Jedi? It's got to be like 4 years ago, something like that. It's going to be more than that, isn't it? Star Wars, oh, Jesus. Star Wars The Last Jedi, 2017. So January 1st, 2018 is when I started being vegetarian and have been ever since. And this is something I've talked about, I don't think on stream before, but I've talked to people about it, is in a sense when I became a vegetarian, it's kind of a good time to be a vegetarian because there is a market for it now. I've spoken to loads of people who've been vegetarian for a very long time and they'll say that you go to a restaurant, there was never anything. It would be, here is a meat-based dish that we're not putting the meat in. Or maybe there's a vegetable lasagna, or there'll be a salad with a thing. And there just weren't a lot of options out there. And then kind of corn came along. But even then, you didn't see it in restaurants. But now there's so much stuff. Yeah, not in every restaurant, but generally you see a lot of Beyond Burgers and Moving Mountain Burgers and tofu-based things. And battered halloumi. Battered halloumi is a freaking genius invention as an alternative to like battered fish for fish and chips. Really, really good. There's just so much out there. To be talking about Christmas dinner, which was always the thing I kind of thought a bit about when I weighed up going vegetarian. And it's one of the things that a lot of people talk about. They say, I would miss bacon. and I miss Christmas dinner. That's the kind of the two go-to things that people immediately have there. Um, but there's so much out there. You know, we talked about doing a roast dinner on Saturday. You know, the main thing we had was Lidl do a Christmas wreath type thing, which is got some sort of fake sausage in it and cranberry and something like that. It's delicious. And if I hadn't been told that it was vegetarian, I wouldn't question the fact that it was meat. You know, but it's not so obviously meaty that it puts some people off, and that's something where my wife and I differ. Because I ate meat for so long, I quite like things that are kind of imitation meat. And there's a line to draw there. You can have corn chicken nuggets, but no one's going to mistake them for being a real chicken. But they're not that they're bad, but it doesn't have a kind of meaty texture. Whereas a lot of the burgers nowadays, you know, you know, plant-based burgers and stuff like that, they have a kind of meaty texture. I've even seen ones that kind of bleed, whether it's beetroot juice or something like that. And that's something my wife just won't have because it's too much like meat. That one, she questions, is this actually meat? But also she doesn't want the sensation of her thinking it's meat because it's very, very repulsive to her. I don't mind if it kind of looks like meat, providing I can assure myself that it's not. But we differ in that respect. It's just so much out there in terms of options. I've still never seen anywhere that does an honest to god mixed grill, a plant-based mixed grill. Any restaurant you go to will probably have one or two plant-based things. They generally have a burger. They might have some sort of sausages or something like that. But what I would quite like is somewhere to do like a full-on mixed grill. I like a bit of not steak, some sausages, some sort of turkey breast type thing. Yeah, that'd be nice. I could make that myself. That gets expensive very quickly. But that would be nice. That'd be nice. And fry-ups. You can get some really good stuff for fry-ups nowadays. I'm a big fan of Richmond's vegetarian sausages. They are very good for fry-ups. And there's an awful lot of really quite good veggie bacon alternatives. Again, you wouldn't confuse them for bacon, but they fill that niche. They scratch that itch and are quite freaking delicious. There is I'm going very niche here. If there is anyone here who ever goes to Edinburgh, no, not Edinburgh, if goes to Scotland, there is 3 places in Falkirk where we used to live. One of them's called the Fork and Mustard, and they make their own vegetarian fry-up stuff. They make their own bacon. They make their own sausages. They make their own black pudding that is all vegetarian. Good God, is it brilliant. Really, really good. So yeah, I'm kind of in a weird place with vegetarianism. I am absolutely a vegetarian, other than I do have gelatin. Quite bad on that one. I know I shouldn't, but I do have it. But it's quite easy for me because there's just stuff out there. The only thing that's ever a pain sometimes is travelling. And I've not really gone international with this one, really. But there's still a limited amount of food on the go in some places. Places like M&S Food tend to have something, but there's still a big old gap in the market there, I think, for vegetarian food on the go. France was quite good when we were in Disneyland the other week. Yeah, they had some good stuff there. And about 5 years ago, a little more, when presumably, let me do the maths on this one. Was I vegetarian? I must have been vegetarian. We went to Florida for in theory our honeymoon. It was about 2 years after we got married. But we did all the rides and the parks and the stuff like that, and that was good fun. I'm pretty sure I was a vegetarian. Yeah, I was. I would remember this. No, I definitely was. And there were fewer options there. The parks were pretty good. Other places less so. Because I remember I definitely didn't have meat when we went to medieval times. But I must have been a relatively new vegetarian. Maybe it was my first year. But yeah, it's a different time. It really is, because there's just so much stuff out there. And if you're not picky and you don't mind that it kind of is imitation meat, for lack of a better term, There's so much stuff you can have. There really is. So it's a good time to be a vegetarian. One thing it's not is cheap. That's the one thing that's an absolute kick in the teeth on that one. Now, if you want to get, then nothing's cheap nowadays, is it? But things like vegetarian bacon, and good vegetarian bacon, it's bloody expensive. I've been at my healthiest when I've done, not strictly, but kind of more paleo-y diets. When I cut out bread and stuff like that, I feel better in and of myself. I lose weight, and not in an unhealthy way. So when I've been at my healthiest is when I would have things like a plant-based something and some scrambled eggs or something for breakfast, and avoid toast and stuff like that. But that's not cheap. It is. It's not cheap and it's not convenient. You really have to be on top of it to do that sort of thing. Whereas just knowing, I've got a loaf of bread, it's a bit of cheese or something in the fridge, or bowl of cereal or something like that. Quick and easy breakfast, even if you're an absolute shambles, those are okay to do. But you've got to be a bit more organised if you're going to do a kind of healthy breakfast. And I really, really should get back into the habit. For those who follow me on social media, I did a big old push, and I want to say during the pandemic. Yeah, it must have been during the pandemic. I did a huge push. I decided I'd had enough of being fat, was what I said to myself. And I was really strict on myself. I did some kind of dust diets for a while, like Exante stuff, and then I moved into a kind of paleo type thing. And the two kind of work together as well because paleo-y type stuff doesn't have carbs. You can stay in ketosis if you're on a kind of keto diet. And I did really well. I lost so much weight and I was feeling a lot healthier. I was feeling less sluggish. I was sleeping better. And then life got busy. Life got busy. Life got expensive. I just wasn't as strict with myself and I fell out of habit. And I put on quite a lot of weight again. I'm annoyed because I do it by shirt size. My heaviest, I was like an XXL. I went to an XL and I got to L. And I bought myself like a medium shirt. And so this is the goal I'm aiming for on this one. If I can get to that, I'm good. And now I'm back to XLs again. And it annoys me because I put in so much bloody effort to do it. And I just need to sort it out and get on with it. But life is busy, life is expensive, and there's a toddler involved as well. Because the second I go, right, I'm going to cook myself something different, if it's a rushed evening, that's something that's going to go out the window. Because clearly I'm going to cook the thing that, that my little one's going to have. So I need to think about that. HelloFresh and stuff like that helps, but I need to stop snacking on crap between it. That's the problem. I generally don't buy rubbish. That's the thing. I'm very good at resisting that urge to, let's order a thing, or I'm going to pick up a thing while I'm there, But if it's in the bloody house, I will snack on it. That's the problem. I'll nip down to grab a drink or something, and I go, ooh, there's a packet of this in the cupboard. Let's snack on them while I'm working. And it's a terrible habit to be in. I do need to sort that out. I want to set a good example. Well, one, I want to be healthier. I absolutely want to be healthier. And the older I get, the trickier that is. I'm how the hell old am I? Am I 38? I think I'm 38. Yeah, I'm 38. So coming up on 40. And I want to be in better health because the longer I leave it to sort it out, the harder it's going to be to do it. And if I'm in better health, my clothes will fit better. I'll be sleeping better. I'll be feeling less sluggish. So I need to do that for myself. And I also need to do it for my little one. I need to set a good example of that because she's not going to remember how big or small Daddy was, when she was 3. But I want her to see me as a role model. So if I'm, heavier than I want to be and eating rubbish, that's not exactly inspiring to her. And she's got my genes. So I know that genetically she probably has a slower metabolism than average. So I want to set a good example for her. So, I'm not gonna, draw a line in the sand on this one, but I really do need to sort that out a bit. And maybe New Year's a good time to do it. Maybe New Year's a good time to go, right, cut out chocolate or whatever it might be. I've got better on alcohol. That's one that I fall into a nasty trap on sometimes. If I get into the habit of having a drink in the evening and having booze in the house that I might casually drink in the evening, that's a difficult one, especially with beer. And I got into a habit for a while of, I was really liking like things like Kraken rum and stuff like that. And I do love Kraken rum. Yep, please sponsor me, Kraken rum. But if it's in the house, I'll just drink it. Oh, I'm gonna have a can of Pepsi. I could put a bit of rum in that in the evening. And you end up casually drinking, which one is not good for you. Secondly, it's just bloody calories. So I'm not too bad on that one, and I don't tend to drink for the sake of drinking. But I do snack for the sake of snacking. Jeez, do I do that? So maybe New Year is a time to sort that out a bit and be a bit better with myself and kind of just sort it out and be a little bit healthier. I think. Let's see how we get on with that one. And maybe because I'm talking to you fine folk out here, maybe that is the thing that will make me actually bloody do it. It holds me accountable. When I was losing weight, I use apps to keep track of it because that works for me. Admittedly, it's bloody terrifying at the start. Where you go, oh my god, I'm this size, Jesus Christ. But then at least you see the numbers go down, you see the shape of the curve, and you realise things are getting better, and it holds you to account. So holding myself to account is important, and if I'm going to come on here and, be talking to you regularly, which I really hope to keep doing, and I want to do more of it, hopefully that is something that will encourage me to be less of a fat bastard. That's got to be good for me, I think. This is not the stream I thought it was going to be. What I do before stream, I generally take some notes. I just have some little scribbled down things of things I might talk about. Just to make sure I don't sit here going, I don't know what I'm going to say now. So at least I've got some topics to kind of segue between. And I kind of had noted, let's talk a little bit about roastiness and vegetarianism and stuff like that. But I've kind of talked about this for the whole freaking hour. Between Canvey Island and talking about health and vegetarianism, I've kind of gone off on a weird tangent on this stream. I was kind of expecting to talk a bit about BG3 or some little bit fair stuff. That hasn't really happened. And I'm not going to shoehorn that into the last kind of 7 minutes of this. So I think we'll start to wrap this one up. It has been a slightly unusual stream, this one, I'll admit. I'll see if I do another one this week. It certainly won't be, if I do another stream this week, it might be Friday. It would have to be Friday because I am, I said, in the office Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So I definitely won't be streaming at lunchtimes. So I might do one on Friday. We'll see, just see how tired I am. And if we do, I might do it as a gaming stream as well. Find another board game to play. Because I've enjoyed doing those ones with, what the hell did I play? Small World. And Suro. And there are some other nice games out there that I should play. Nice, quick, casual games. Because they're nice to do on lunch streams. I also have Lords of Waterdeep, but I think trying to shoehorn a game of Lords of Waterdeep into a 45-minute lunch stream is probably not going to happen. But I could do it for an evening at some point. I need to get into the habit of evening streaming, but that's a sound thing. I don't want to be so loud that I wake my little one up, who would be through that wall, is her bedroom. So I need to, if I do that, I need to make sure I'm keeping the sound at an appropriate level. Because I've got headphones on, I can't hear how loud I'm talking. So we'll see. We might do another stream on Friday. Other stuff going on. Links are here. Ko-Fi, Patreon, DC Bradshaw RPG. You can join for just like $2 a month. It supports me with stuff, including the Creators Directory, which is up there. I'm still doing a big push for Little But Fierce, my rewrite of D&D 5th edition for kids as young as 6. We are getting very close to that being a gold bestseller on Drive-Thru RPG, which I would love to do by the end of the year. So if that's something that's of interest, just Google Little But Fierce 5th edition, or go to dcbreadshaw.com and have a look on there for it. Because, yeah, that's awesome. You know, we're on something like 460 something-ish sales. We've got to get to 501 to get to gold bestseller. So pretty close, considering it's only been out like, what, a year and a half? Something like that? It's pretty great. That's pretty awesome. You also randomly have some stuff on eBay right now. So a few kind of board games, bits and pieces like that, if that's of interest. Links are on my socials if that is something you're interested in. But I feel I'm running out of steam, and I think we have wrapped up that stuff we're going to do here. Is there anyone to raid? That is a good question. No one that I follow is online right now. So I guess we're not doing a raid today, and I don't tend to raid people I don't follow just because, yeah, I feel like I want to know the people, you know, before I send you over there to invade them. So I think we'll just wrap it up there. Thank you so much for your time. Livio Jean, if you have enjoyed this, please feel free to subscribe. As I get more and more into streaming, I've only been doing it for like a month or so now. You know, I want to do this more and more because I am very much enjoying it, and supporters are very, very helpful for that. So thank you so much for your time. Have a wonderful afternoon. I'll speak to you all soon. Bye.